So let's get down to start the pattern. We're going to head here to the front crossbar on the left side of the frame. En route, we'll pass a couple of up lefts. We'll pass 3 horizontals. So we'll go over first, under second. Here, everywhere on the left side of the crossbar, whenever we come back down to this left side of the crossbar, we have an unfortunate bit of the pattern, which I can describe to you, but I cannot explain exactly why it's done the way it is. A participant at a workshop coined it the purple elephant, and that's a name that's stuck because it helps to jog people's memory about this odd spot. There's a few things about it that are a bit confusing and different from what's done elsewhere. The first is that we are going to come from the bottom up around the edging lines. That's the only time where we come bottom up on the edging line, so we'll do that. And the very first purple elephant also happens to be the most difficult one, simply because our lines here, they're so close together it's a little bit hard to see what's going on. But what you want to do here is separate the lines and make sure that you've actually picked or found the rearmost of these 2 lines that are so close together. Sometimes they get twisted up and you can grab the wrong line. Trace them back here to the left side of the frame. The one with the big triple half hitch knot is not the rearmost line. You'll find the line behind it and get your finger in between the 2 lines. Okay, so the easiest way for me to describe this is my finger is in between these 2 rearmost horizontal lines, and my finger is sitting to the left of this strand that I just pulled down. Okay, so I am going to stick my line right down where my finger is. Same hole that my finger's in. And then I'll bring the line, I'll pull that through. When I bring this line back up, it's again going to go in between the 2 rearmost horizontal lines. It went down to the left of itself, it'll come back up to the right. So just here to the right side. And then you can pull that tight. So what it's done is I've twisted the line on itself, just like we've done everywhere else, but caught in the middle of that twist is this rearmost horizontal line. So it actually gets drawn all the way down to the edging line. So we now have one of our weaving lines is basically touching the edging line here. And we will do that every time we get to the left side of this front crossbar. We won't do it on the right side, so there is going to be a little asymmetry between the left and the right side at the front crossbar, but that is how the pattern works, and like I said, not quite sure exactly how that gets sorted out like that, but it does work. Gilpatrick's book that's included with our kits, that's probably this is probably a good time to take a look at that if you're having trouble understanding my description, because it's a tight spot here and it's hard to see. Okay. So this purple elephant triggers the start of the pattern. Now we're into the pattern. In the body here we had an 8-step pattern. In the toe and the heel we have a 6-step pattern. And perhaps I'll pause the video here and just draw that pattern out on a whiteboard to get you started visualizing it. Alright, we'll take a little break here, return to our whiteboard, and I'm going to draw out the pattern, and hopefully this will be helpful. So I've got the frame of the toe of the snowshoe here again. I've removed the edging line, it was just a distraction. So we are going to start down here on the left side of the front crossbar, and I believe I've already described the purple elephant. From the purple elephant we will come up in the corner of the frame, and in the corner here this is going to be an immediate weave. Switch colors here. That is immediate weave in the corner is step 1 of 6, and then I will go across the bottom of the frame. That will be a delayed weave, step 2. I'll come down In the opposite corner, that one is going to be another immediate weave. Then I will come across the center. This will be a delayed weave, so you can see the pattern: immediate, delayed, immediate, delayed. Step 5 is going to be going across the top of the frame with an immediate weave. And then step 6 will be across the center again with another delayed weave, and that will return us down here to the purple elephant on the left side of the front crossbar. So that's our basic 6-step figure 8 for toes and heels. We come immediate in the corner, delayed across the bottom, immediate in the corner, delayed across the center, immediate in the top, and delayed weave across the center again to bring us back where we started. Okay, so we just finished our first purple elephant. We're ready to start the pattern. As I mentioned, I described the pattern for the toe and the heel not in how it's connected to the frame like we did with the body, but instead the part of the frame that it travels across. So this first one is going to be a corner. It'll travel just across the corner here, and a corner is a immediate weave. So we're going to look at our pairs here. We've got a horizontal to go over, then a diagonal to go under, over the horizontal, under the diagonal, and they can be pretty tight here to start, so you want to make sure that you really get a sense of what's what. This rightmost diagonal here, it's the most recent line to come down, and you can see I've already twisted it up here as part of the purple elephant, so you can keep that in mind. If you've twisted on a line, it is not going to be part of the next step. It's already been dealt with as part of the previous step. So this diagonal is not going to be part of the weave. So we've got the other 2 diagonals and 2 horizontals that'll be part of the weave. So I'm going to go over horizontal, under a diagonal, over horizontal, under a diagonal. Just like in the body, repeating over and under is not enough. You really need to repeat the type of line you're looking for. Over horizontal, under a diagonal. Otherwise, you could be going over and under the wrong things, and it's not going to be helping you. Okay, so we can start pulling that tight. With the toe and the heel, we want to make sure that we're pulling everything nice and tight, but not so much that we're really deflecting or collapsing lines. They're able to shift around more than they were on the body until the weave really develops and starts locking them in place. So at first you want to hold them and tension them at the same time so that you're not pulling your lines way out of whack. Okay, so I've done the corner. I'll grab the edging line here, go down around the edging line, come up to the rear of itself to create that nice little twist. And now after the corner, I've got a bottom, and a bottom is a delayed weave. That should be pretty obvious because you have 3 of the same type of strand that are all clumped together, so you'll have to go over all 3, and then 3 different strands will go under those 3. Grab the edging line here on the right side of the frame, come up to the front of itself. That'll create our twist. This spot in the corner can be really hard to see what your weave is. Remember, the first thing you want to do is look at this frontmost horizontal. You've already twisted it up, so completely disregard it. It should not be part of your weave, or that will really throw things off. So that's going to leave us 3 more horizontals and also 3 diagonals here that need to be weaved. The first thing I'll encounter is the diagonal, so I go over first, and then I need to find a horizontal to go under the horizontal, over the diagonal, under the horizontal, over the diagonal, under the horizontal. That brings me back to the front crossbar. On the right half of the front crossbar, there is no elephant. It's just a standard. I'll go down around the edging line, back up to the right, that was step 3, a corner. That was an immediate weave. Step 4 is going across the center, which is a delayed weave. Again, I've got 4 horizontals. I'll go over all of those. 3 diagonals, go under all of those. Grab the edging line here at the front left. Coming back up to the rear. Corner, step 4. Top is step 5. And this will be an immediate weave. We can see our pairs here, an upright and an up left, and then an upright and an up left, and an upright and an up left. So I'll go over the upright, under the up left, over the upright, under the up left, over the upright, under the up left. Down around the edging line here on the right, back up to the front. That was a top, which is step 5. Step 6, you can pull this nice and tight. Okay. Step 6 is coming back across the center, a delayed weave, under 4 diagonals, under 4 horizontals, and we're back here at the front crossbar on the left side of the front crossbar, so we will purple elephant. So that's going to mean coming from the bottom up on the edging line. It's the only time we do that. Now we can see this rearmost line of the 250 line. It's already been purple elephanted here once already, so that makes it more obvious. We want to go down in front of it and to the left of this diagonal, and then come back up also to the front of the horizontal, but to the right of the diagonal. That's it. That's one complete pass. We did a corner, bottom, corner, and then a center, top, center. That brought us back, so it's a figure 8 pattern. Brought us back here to the purple elephant at the front left, and then we'll start again with step 1, coming up in the corner, which is an immediate weave. Remember to ignore the first diagonal that we've already twisted. So the first thing we encounter is the horizontal. We go over the horizontal, under the diagonal, over the horizontal, under the diagonal, over the horizontal, under the diagonal. I'll grab the edging line. Now I've decided not to grab this intersection because that would bring my line up a little bit too high. But if you have a smaller frame, you might decide to grab the intersection the same way we did up here at the front during setup. In my case, I leave that for another time. That's my corner. Now I'll come across the bottom. Again, delayed weave, over 4, under 4. Grab the edging line here on the right, come up to the front. That was step 2. Step 3 is another corner, immediate weave. Again, this first horizontal I've already twisted on, so ignore it. It's not going to be part of this weave. So I'll start by going over a diagonal, under a horizontal, over a diagonal, under a horizontal, over a diagonal. Pull all that through once you've got a few passes, and then you can finish up. Over a diagonal, under a horizontal, grab the edging line here. Remember, it's just regular over the edging line on the right side of the front crossbar. Coming up to the right. Now I'd be coming across the center. That's a delayed weave. Again, you can see this triangle, just like in the body. This triangle is getting smaller and smaller, and that helps us to determine when to do our first center weave. In the body, we kept going until that triangle had basically disappeared. We can do the same thing in the toe and the heel, but the longer we delay that first center weave, the more passes we'll have to do to complete the pattern, and of course then the finer our pattern will be, which is a nice thing, but it's a small area here. It can be really confusing if we make our pattern too fine, especially on the first time. So I actually find on the toe and the heel, I don't wait for the triangle to completely disappear. I'll do my first center weave a little bit early. So I'll force that center weave a little bit early. That causes the pattern to fill out a little bit faster and finish up a little bit faster. And it's much easier to follow along with what's going on here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horizontal strands. They're all the same. I have to treat them all the same. That rule is one we never break. So I have to go over all these 5, but I can change the order. So I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And then I need to find a different type of strand to go under, and that's the diagonal. And I need to come all the way over here to go under that diagonal without going over that 5th horizontal. Okay, so I'll go over 1, 2, 3, 4 horizontals, under the diagonal, over that 5th horizontal, and then that's going to leave me with 1, 2, 3 diagonals to go under. Now you can see it looks like my line is going in the wrong direction because I need to come across the center up here to the top, and I can pull it there and that'll redirect some of my lines in the middle. And that's what I mean by forcing that center weave a little bit early. So I could have continued to fill out that triangle a bit more, but instead I chose to do my first center weave one step early. Okay. Also take a moment now to mark right where you did your first center weave so that you can repeat that on your other shoe to make sure your patterns look exactly the same. So pencil can do that. I don't have that handy, so I'll just scratch it a little bit with my thumbnail. Okay. So I'm up here across the center, grab the edging line, down around the edging line, back up to the left, pull that nice and tight, come across the top again. And I'm looking at this, I don't want these two top lines to get too close. So in fact here, I'll go down around the edging line to the front of this intersection, but I'll come back up to the rear of that intersection. And that's what I talked about, those occasional landmark lines. That's going to lock me right on this intersection so that this line can't shift around at all, and that's going to give me a little nicer spacing between these two horizontals. Okay. So that was step 4, center. Now I'm going to do step 5 across the top, which is an immediate weave, over and up right, under and up left, over and up right, under and up left. We've got 4 pairs of those to do. On the right side of the frame, I want to grab the intersection. I will go down to the rear of the intersection, back up to the front of the intersection. It's going to lock that line in place so I don't have to worry about it shifting around. And then I can pull really nice and tight. Coming down across the center, this is a delayed weave. Just like with the body, after we've done one center weave, every single time we cross the center now, we're going to be doing some center weaving, and that's going to grow outward, and our corners and our top are going to grow inward, and eventually they'll meet and our pattern will finish. And our pattern will finish sort of in the shoulder area. So, easiest way to do that, I find, is to look at the previous parallel strand, see where it first center wove. So it was over 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonals before it went under a horizontal. So with this strand, I'll just back up 1. I'll go over 1, 2, 3 diagonals, and then I need to go under a horizontal, over a diagonal, under a horizontal, over a diagonal, under 3 horizontals to finish. That's going to bring me back here again to the purple elephant location. on the left side of the front crossbar. So I will come from the bottom up on the edging line. I will go down in front of the rearmost weaving line and to the left of itself, to the left of the diagonal. I'll come back up to the right of the diagonal and to the front of that horizontal line. That's my second pass done. Referencing now again back to the body, you might recall when I talked about changing lanes, as we got near the end of the weave, it became very easy to jump across where you shouldn't be. And the same thing occurs here. Our corners are growing outwards, our centers are growing inwards, and so they get very close together. So you have to make sure this step one is going across the corner of the frame as an immediate weave. And you have to make sure that you actually stay across the corner here and don't find yourself jumping up across the center, which then gives you a line that isn't parallel to any other lines, and it sort of blocks the flow of future traffic. Okay, so watch for that changing lanes. So this is a corner, which is an immediate weave, over a horizontal, under a diagonal, over a horizontal, under a diagonal, over a horizontal, under a diagonal, well, the camera battery died without me noticing, so I'm just picking up the same spot I left off, but with a new shoe here. So we've just finished our corner. I'll grab the edging line, and when I do, I'll grab this intersection. So I'm going down in front of the intersection, up to the rear corner. Bottom is a delayed weave. I'll look at the previous horizontal and step back one. So I'm going to go over 2 uprights, under and up left, over and up right, under and up left, over and up right, under and up left, over and up right, under 2 to finish. I'll grab the edging line here on the right side, but I'm going to skip this intersection. It doesn't look like it lines up perfectly. The holes aren't perfectly aligned here, so I'm just going to go in front of the intersection. Now a corner is an immediate weave. Again, we're coming down in the corner, so make sure you don't change lanes and come across to the left side. We should be staying nice and close to the right side here. Over the diagonal, under the horizontal, over the diagonal, under the horizontal, over the diagonal, under the horizontal, we're on the right side of the frame. That is not a purple elephant, so just go over the edging line, come back up to the right. That was step 3. Step 4 is across the center, which is a delayed weave. I'll go over 2 horizontals. I'm looking at this previous parallel line, stepping back 1 from it, under a diagonal, over a horizontal, under a diagonal, over a horizontal, working my way through that weave. This is going to be my last round of the shoe, so here I'll just go right, split the difference between the previous 2 strands, right in the middle. Across the top is an immediate weave, over and up right, under and up left, over and up right, under and up left, over and up right, under and up left. Head all the way there to the right side, weaving the whole time. Grab the edging line, come up to the front. Step 6 would be across the center, which is a delayed weave. But when I look at the previous strand, there's no delay possible when I step back. So that tells me my pattern is done. It's a delayed weave, but there's no delay. So this will be my last pass. Remember, the pattern is defined by that first center weave, so if you did your first center weave later than me, then you would have a delay possible here still, which would tell you that you still have more weaving to do. But I don't, so I'll weave all the way back here to the edging line. Grab the edging line, go under, go over, doesn't really matter here. And tie off with the triple half hitch. And then if you can squeeze it into some of these little twists, I like to just run it into these twists. Clean it up. And just a couple of them is fine. And snip that off, pass the other end out of the way somewhere, snip it off. And there we go, our completed toe.